This is a night that Jesus said, "Love one another as I have loved you." And then he showed them all the way to the cross. In a few moments, we're going to come to this table. And I know for most of us, this isn't our first time. We know how it goes. We know the rhythm. We know the bread. We know the wine. We know the words. And really, there's some Sundays that I've come to this table and I've gone through the motions, because sometimes when something is so familiar, that's what you do. You don't think about the details. You don't think about the meaning anymore, especially when you've been doing it for years. So tonight, I want us to slow down, because tonight is different. Tonight isn't Sunday morning. Tonight is Thursday. And Thursday is the night when Jesus sat at a table surrounded by his friends and by the people closest to him, and he knew what was coming. They were celebrating the Passover, a meal they'd eaten before time and time again, a meal where they were celebrating and remembering the story of how God had rescued their ancestors from slavery through the blood, through the sacrifice. And right in the middle of that very familiar meal, Jesus did something very unexpected. He took the bread and he said, "This is my body." And then he took the cup and he said, "This is my blood." He was telling his friends what was about to happen to him, that he would be giving his life for them and for us. Within hours, he would be arrested. He would be beaten. He would be mocked. He would be nailed to a cross. And when it was over, after he had taken his last breath and his head had dropped, they put a spear in his side just to make sure he was dead. And they took him down from that cross. They would have wrapped him in a piece of linen, a lot larger than this, but piece of linen. It would have been clean. It would have been white. But this linen didn't stay clean for very long. There's actually a cloth that still exists today. You're seeing up on the screen something that people have studied for years. It's called the Shroud of Turin. This is an enhanced image of the blood stains on the shroud. It shows a faint image of a man who was beaten, a man who was scourged, a man who was crucified. If you look closely, you can see the marks across his back. You can see the wounds in his hands, in his feet, and even the place where the spear went into his side. Whether someone believes that this is the actual burial cloth of Jesus or not, this is what crucifixion did to a body. This is what we're talking about tonight. It wasn't a clean way to die. It wasn't dignified. This is a man who had been destroyed, an innocent man who had been destroyed. And he let it happen. Not because he had to, but because he chose to. He chose the punishment for us, for sinners, for people who didn't deserve it or did deserve it, for me, for you. Tomorrow we're going to celebrate Good Friday here. But Good Friday wasn't good for him. It was good for us because of this. This is the cost of what we're about to receive. So when you take communion tonight, this isn't just a ritual. It's not another routine we just do. This is what it's about. This is what it's about. So before we come to the table tonight, we need to just sit here for a moment and not try to forget, not try to look away from the sacrifice. Because this meal doesn't mean a thing if we don't remember what it cost.